The Entitlement of Rosie O Donnell. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Many of you will be familiar with Rosie O Donnell, but in case you're not, she's an American talk show host, comedian and actress. She began her comedy career as a teenager and received her breakthrough on the television series Star Search back in 1984. After a series of television and film roles that introduced her to a larger national audience, she hosted her own syndicated daytime talk show, The Rosie O Donnell Show, between 1996 and 2002. During this period, she developed the nickname Queen of Nice, as well as a reputation for philanthropic efforts. Sounds like a couple of other people that I've regularly spoken about. She endured a controversial run as the moderator on the daytime talk show The View between 2006 and 2007, which included a public feud with future President Donald Trump and on-air disputes regarding the Bush administration's policies with the Iraq War. She hosted Rosie Radio on Sirius XM Radio between 2009 and 2011, and then she hosted another short-lived talk show on OWN, The Rosie Show. She returned to The View in 2014, and then between 2017 and 2019, she starred on the Showtime comedy series SMILF. She's been a magazine editor, celebrity blogger, and the author of several memoirs. She then, following Trump's inauguration for a second presidential term, moved to Ireland and applied for Irish citizenship through descent. So there's a little potted history of Rosie O Donnell. Entitled behaviour can appear with anybody. It is something that can be manifested by the base categorizations of empath, normal, narcissistic person, or narcissist. But when it comes to the narcissist, the sense of entitlement is substantial. Essentially, it means the narcissist believes they ought to be recognized as superior without necessarily commensurate achievements, that they believe themselves to be special and unique, so that they can only really be understood by similarly brilliant people. That because the universe revolves around them and they are so brilliant, they are allowed to say what they want. They're allowed to do what they want. They're allowed to take what they want, and to do so without accountability. That they operate with unearned privilege, where there is a demand for special treatment, the disregard of others' boundaries, and behaving as if the rules do not apply to them. And to understand more about what this sense of entitlement can manifest as, I'm going to provide you with number of examples in relation to the behaviour of Rosie O Donnell. During her time on The View, O'Donnell launched a prolonged public attack on Donald Trump, calling him a snake oil salesman. Now, whether she's right or whether she's wrong about that, and you'll have your own personal view, and that's not the point of what this video is about. The fact is that she feels entitled to talk about another person in that manner. She mocked his appearance, which in effect is an ad hominem attack, and also his business ethics. When Trump retaliated by threatening to sue and revoke her citizenship, she escalated by then involving his family and ex-wife, treating the conflict as a personal vendetta without any due regard for professional boundaries or potential harm to others. In 2016, she tweeted that Donald Trump's young son Barron exhibited signs of autism, claiming her experience as a parent of an autistic child gave her unique insight. Once again, the special mentality that comes with the narcissist and the belief that they're entitled to issue a pronouncement in that regard. Rather than perhaps thinking it, or mentioning it to people around her, she feels a need to tweet about it based upon her supposed unique insight. She refused to apologise initially, positioning her opinion as superior and ignoring the ethical violation of diagnosing a child publicly, which drew widespread criticism. On her daytime talk show, shortly after the Columbine shooting, O'Donnell aggressively questioned guest Tom Selleck about his NRA affiliation, ambushing him with accusations of insensitivity. Despite Tom Selleck's calm responses, she pressed on, using her platform to demand ideological alignment without allowing equal airtime, reflecting an expectation that guests bend to her views, demonstrating a sense of entitlement and a need for control. After coming out as a lesbian on The View, O'Donnell felt betrayed when Ellen DeGeneres downplayed their friendship on Larry King Live, which naturally would amount to a threat to control. DeGeneres, naturally engaging in invalidating behaviour herself, stated, "I don't know Rosie that well." She might have been using the truth in order to have that jibe towards Rosie O'Donnell, or it may have been a fabrication. But the fact is that it impacted upon O'Donnell so that she later created T-shirts mocking the quote and distributed them to her staff, framing the slight as a profound personal wound and refusing to move on. Once again, entitled to take the dispute to another level. Amid on-air disputes with co-hosts over Iraq war comments and her Trump feud, O'Donnell announced her departure from The View in a dramatic, tearful rant, criticising the show's management for not supporting her truth-telling. She positioned herself as a victim of censorship, demanding sympathy, while ignoring the terms of her contract and the impact on the production team. Entitlement, by making it all about her, engaging in a rant, and making it seem as if she is the victim. How many times have you seen that behaviour? Following the Minneapolis Catholic school shooting in 2025, O'Donnell posted a video immediately blaming MAGA Republicans and white supremacists, assuming the perpetrator fitted her political narrative, but doing so without any evidence. Only after she received backlash, which was a threat to control, did she offer some form of apology, admitting she didn't do her due diligence, which underscored her sense of entitlement by rushing to judgment driven by her self-appointed role as a moral authority. In a video rant in 2025, O'Donnell claimed that Trump paid Jeffrey Epstein $1 billion and labelled him a serial paedophile rapist, using unverified conspiracy theories to fuel her narrative. She added hashtags like #ResistFascism, treating her platform as a license to spread inflammatory lies without fact-checking first, as if her celebrity status exempts her from defamation standards. Further in 2025, O'Donnell shared a post falsely accusing Conservative figure Charlie Kirk of supporting stoning gays to death and being anti-LGBTQ, amplifying Stephen King's debunked claim, for which he apologised. This led to losses in partnerships for her, but she initially doubled down, acting as if her anti-conservative stance justified twisting facts to fit her worldview, once again, acting in an entitled fashion. Naturally, she has allowed her views. This is the freedom of speech and the freedom of expression, and she's allowed to articulate those views. But she shows us entitlement, whereby she articulates those views without due regard for their impact upon people, and without due regard for actual evidence supporting her views. Like many other individuals who operate in a similar fashion, she is allowed to articulate her view, it just might not be a very well-formed one. After watching a Netflix docuseries on the show, The Biggest Loser, O'Donnell publicly slammed Jay Leno as a mean asshole for his guest hosting style, calling out his and trainer Bob Harper's disappointing behaviour towards contestants. She used Instagram to moralise without context, demanding accountability from others, while of course ignoring her own history of on-air confrontations, underpinning her hypocrisy, whilst again operating in an entitled manner. From calling Trump a child predator in unhinged videos to labelling critics as threats to humanity, O'Donnell's ex-posts often demand unwavering agreement from followers, framing dissent as personal attacks. This pattern, seen in her return to the platform in 2025, where she lamented its changes while using it freely, shows an expectation that social media should bend to her preferences without reciprocity. 10 instances, and there are plenty more, of the way that Rosie O'Donnell acts in an entitled fashion to help you understand this narcissistic activity. As I mentioned at the start of the video, anybody can behave in an entitled way, and it's a narcissistic behaviour. Sporadic instances of entitled behaviour don't make somebody a narcissist, as you know. There's much more to it. But where somebody is a narcissist, you will see repeated and sustained instances of entitled behaviour. And there you have a host of examples over a sustained time period in relation to the behaviour of Rosie O'Donnell. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.